where we cut through all the noise to get you the insights you need to get smart and fast. Today, we are digging into something that, well, it brings a lot of joy, but also a pretty steep learning curve. We're talking about dog ownership. Specifically, that whole first phase of bringing a new puppy home and just trying to make sure everything goes right.
It's a huge decision.
No.
And the sources we looked at, they immediately frame the central tension. On one hand, you have this incredible promise, right?
No.
A loving companion,
Yep.
endless entertainment, just pure
One of
joy.
the cute puppy pictures.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then there's this dark shadow of what could go wrong. You know, the destruction, the chaos, the discipline problems, that feeling that you've just adopted a little furry wrecking ball.
The joy versus the reality check. So our mission today is pretty clear. We're going to pull out the psychology, the methods, and the absolute must-haves to guarantee that joyful outcome. And the consensus in the material seems to be that while breeding matters, it's really the training that's the critical piece. It's the difference maker.
It absolutely is. I mean, good training can take an ill-mannered dog and make it a calm, confident part of the family. But the reverse is also true. A lack of training, or just bad training, it basically unleashes all those natural animal instincts that we as owners find pretty unacceptable.
So you're shaping their entire adult personality in those first few months.
That's the key insight. What you do in those early, crucial puppy days sets the stage for everything.
Okay, so we're not just talking about teaching them to sit or roll over. We're laying a deep kind of psychological foundation for a well-mannered best friend. Let's start with the real benefits of having that kind of trained relationship. When people hear dog training, they immediately think obedience. But the sources point out 5 major areas where the benefits go way, way deeper. If you had to pick the single most important one, what would it be?
Oh, it's trust, hand down. Training isn't just about command and control. It's the blueprint for building a relationship that's based on mutual confidence.
Mutual confidence.
Yeah, think about a simple command like come. The owner has to be 100% certain the dog will return, especially if there's danger. But just as important, the dog has to know without any doubt that when it comes back, it's going to be rewarded and safe.
So it's a two-way street.
It's a total two-way street of confidence. That's the stable core of the whole relationship. And that really reframes the whole effort, doesn't it?
It does. And that confidence, I guess, lets you tackle all the other behavioral stuff that's bound to come up because their natural habits aren't always compatible with living in a house.
Exactly. I mean, why do dogs bark like crazy or dig up the garden or chew on the furniture? These are just instinctual behaviors. Training, because it's rooted in that trust, it gives you a way to replace those unacceptable habits with new, acceptable ones.
So instead of just hoping they stop digging,
You teach them that sitting quietly actually earns them a treat instead. It's a redirection.
what's really interesting here is the idea that training is, in a way, intellectual stimulation for them. It actually makes them smarter.
It absolutely does. Dogs are so curious. I mean, if you watch a puppy, they are constantly using all their senses to explore and investigate. Training taps right into that. It doesn't shut down their intelligence. It channels it. It shows them they can do, a lot more with those skills when they engage with you.
Especially when they get rewarded for it.
Of course, when that learning is rewarded with praise and attention, it's a powerful motivator.
Okay, let's get practical. The number one roadblock for so many people is time. Everyone assumes you need to block out hours every single day, and they just don't have it.
And that's a very real concern. But the sources are actually pretty encouraging on this. You have to see training as an investment. It's an investment that prevents you from spending massive amounts of time later, cleaning up messes or paying vet bills.
Right. A little time now saves a lot of time later.
Exactly. And the requirement is manageable. We're talking maybe an hour a day, max. But the trick is, it's way more effective when you break it down into these smaller, frequent spells.
Not one long, hour-long session.
No. You're better off doing 2 or 3 sessions of just 10 or 15 minutes each.
And why is that so much more effective?
It keeps their attention sharp, prevents boredom, and it just integrates the learning into their everyday life. It shows the dog that training isn't some big formal event. It's just part of how we live together.
And all of that time, that investment, it ties back to this emotional need they have for acceptance, for finding their place in the pack.
Precisely. The family is the dog's pack now. And for that dog to feel secure, everyone in the house has to be consistent. If you have one person using one command and someone else using a different one or different rewards,
You create confusion.
total confusion. And that's incredibly frustrating for a dog. It makes them feel insecure. So the whole family has to be on board using the exact same methods.
That idea of a cohesive family pack feels like a perfect transition into their core psychology. We know they're descended from wolves, so they see us as a pack. But how does a dog figure out who's in charge? I mean, they don't speak our language.
It's all through observation, constant, careful observation of everything we do. They're watching our size, our actions, our reactions, and especially our voice tone and our energy.
Voice tone.
Oh, definitely. Say a dog sees a mother use a higher, firmer tone to correct a child. The dog immediately reads that as a display of higher authority. They're watching who starts activities, who controls the food, who speaks with that decisive energy.
Which raises a really important point. What happens if the dog can't figure out the hierarchy, or if everyone in the house is just really passive?
That's a huge red flag. If the dog can't determine the system, it will, by instinct, create its own system.
Yeah.
And it will put itself in charge.
And that's not out of malice, right?
Not at all.
Yeah.
It's just because packs need a leader. If no one steps up, they will. And that's when you see the destructive behaviors. The dog guarding the sofa, blocking doors, refusing to listen. Because in its mind, it's running the show. Establishing yourself as that calm, confident leader is vital for the dog's own security.
The sources also point to a really common problem that can totally throw this pack dynamic into chaos, and that's jealousy. You bring home a new baby or a kitten, and suddenly everything is upside down for the dog.
It's a huge disruption. They're thinking, okay, what's my place now? Am I being replaced? And that uncertainty can come out as aggression or neediness or even just a quiet withdrawal.
So how do you manage that?
The key is consistency. You don't manage it by spoiling them. You manage it by maintaining absolute consistency in their training time and their routine. You have to show the dog that its status, its place in the pack, is secure, even with the new addition. That routine is their security blanket.
Okay, let's circle back to memory. This was a real aha moment for me in the material. We have to understand the two different types of memory they have.
Yes, this is crucial for every owner to get.
Yeah.
Dogs have a surprisingly short recall memory. The research suggests they won't remember a specific event for more than maybe 2 or 3 hours. So if you come home to a mess on the floor that happened 5 hours ago and you yell at the dog
has no idea what you're yelling about.
Exactly. It can't connect the punishment to the action. It just connects the punishment to you coming home, which is terrible for your relationship.
Counterproductive. It breaks the trust.
Totally. But their second type of memory, their ability to associate things, is incredibly powerful and long-lasting. They can dissociate a sound, a gesture, a place with a good or bad feeling forever. And that is why those short, frequent training sessions work. And it's why any correction has to be immediate, within seconds.
So the association is crystal clear.
Crystal clear.
Okay, so with that psychology in mind, let's dive into the actual methods. What are the first steps for socializing a new puppy?
It really starts with behavior management, which basically means constant supervision. At first, you have to have your eyes on them all the time. If you can't watch them, use a crate. But remember, a crate should be a safe den big enough to move around in, not a punishment box for hours on end.
And what about inside the house?
Some pros even recommend keeping the puppy on a leash inside the home at first. That way, you're right there to correct any unwanted behaviors the second they happen.
And exercise is a big part of this too, right? But it's not just about running them ragged.
Right, you need both sides of the coin, physical and mental. Physical exercise is about burning off that pent-up energy, getting their heart rate up. But mental exercise is just as important. It satisfies that deep need to explore. And since their strongest sense is smell, things like scent work or puzzle toys are perfect. The sources really love the stuffed Kong as a tool for this.
You mentioned establishing the owner as the leader. How do you do that in daily life? The sources mention controlling 4 basic activities.
Yes, this is the practical side of leadership. You control food, sleep, playing, and exercise. It means you initiate playtime, you decide when it's mealtime, you decide when the walk begins and ends, you become the source of all the good things in their life, so they look to you for guidance rather than making demands.
And this has to apply to kids in the house too.
Oh, absolutely. You have to actively train the dog to be kids-friendly. That means rewarding calm behavior around children, teaching the dog to accept hugs and touch, and discouraging jumping or barking.
Okay, let's shift to training methodology. The sources are very, very clear about what to do, and maybe more importantly, what not to do.
Yes. The overwhelming recommendation is for positive reinforcement. It's built on love, fun, rewards, and that trust we keep talking about. It just works faster because a dog is motivated and wants to please you. And you have to explicitly avoid any kind of violent method. No shock collars, no hitting. That just introduces fear, and fear destroys trust. It's never a good teaching tool.
And within positive reinforcement, there are some specialized techniques.
Right. Clicker training is a great one. It was first used for dolphins, actually. The click is faster and more precise than your voice, so the dog makes the connection between the action and the coming reward instantly. There's also dog whispering, which is all about learning to read and use the dog's own body language to communicate instead of just relying on verbal commands.
The sources mention a couple more intense methods, but they come with big warnings.
Yeah, things like lead and collar training for aggressive dogs or whistle training for distance work, those are really for specialists. If your dog needs that level of intervention, you need to hire a professional. For the average owner, it's best to stick to the core principles: praise, correction, and voice tone.
Okay, let's break that down. What does meaningful praise look like? Is just saying, good dog, enough?
Not always. Praise has to be truly rewarding. Verbal praise is good, but it should be backed up with something they really value. A high-value treat, a quick game of fetch, even a short car ride if they love the car. Correction has to be immediate and firm. And voice tone. Your normal, polite voice is for praise, but commands need to be hard, loud, and decisive. The contrast is what helps them understand.
All right, moving past behavior, we also need to talk about their physical needs. Nutrition is obviously huge. What are the essentials?
The big takeaway is that dogs need significantly more protein than humans do. There are 10 essential amino acids their bodies can't make, so they have to get them from their food. A high-quality protein source is non-negotiable.
And what about fats?
Fats are a concentrated energy source,
Yeah.
but they're also critical for healthy skin and hair. And here's a key warning from the sources. A deficiency in omega-3 fatty acids can actually lead to serious vision problems.
Wow, and their needs change so much with age.
Drastically.
Hmm.
A growing puppy needs about twice the calories per pound of body weight as an adult dog, but an older, less active dog needs about 20% less. And another huge warning for puppy owners: be so careful with minerals. Too much calcium and magnesium can cause serious skeletal problems in growing puppies. Always talk to your vet before giving supplements.
Is there an easy way for an owner to check if their dog is at a good weight?
Yeah, a simple physical check. You should be able to easily feel their ribs without pressing hard. And when you look at them from above, you can see a clear abdominal curve, a waistline. If you can't feel the ribs, it's time for a diet adjustment.
Lastly, let's talk about conditioning the puppy to just being in a house. Our normal daily routine can be a sensory overload for them.
It can feel like mass confusion. Think about it from their perspective. The TV, the kitchen noises, the sound of you getting ready for work.
Yeah.
It's all new and potentially scary. Take the vacuum cleaner. To a tiny puppy, that thing is a roaring monster. The owner needs to address that fear directly. Keep the puppy close. Use kind words. Make it a positive or at least a neutral experience. Don't just force them to deal with it.
And this applies to visitors too.
Yes. A common mistake is letting guests rush in and overwhelm the puppy. You have to condition your guests. Tell them not to approach the puppy first. Let the puppy make the first move on its own terms. And outside, the leash isn't just for control. It's a tool for safe exploration. It lets them get familiar with all the smells and sounds of the neighborhood without being overwhelmed. If you boil all of this down, the basic formula is pretty clear. It's about spending time, building a relationship on trust, and learning to read your dog's language. It's not a 2-week course. Training is a full-time duty that really secures your dog's happiness for its entire life.
And that security is so dependent on the family. Before you even bring the dog home, the sources all stress this one thing. You have to secure your family's buy-in. If even one person in the house dislikes the dog or uses different rules, it creates so much frustration for the animal. It can even lead to aggression. It just completely undermines the pack structure you're trying to build. So here's the final thought for you to take away from this deep dive. Based on everything we've talked about consistency and the need for a united leadership structure, what specific steps can you take right now before that puppy even comes home to make sure your family is a united pack? Do you need to decide who's in charge of feeding, who handles discipline, who runs the training sessions? Think about those rules, get them straight now, and start acting like a consistent team before the dog even walks through the door.